Today we're gonna make one of my absolute favorite dishes, chicken satay with coconut rice. We're gonna do it all in the Ninja Combi and it's only gonna take 20 minutes. Welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. And today we're gonna make a delicious meal in about 20 minutes. But first, we have to get our chicken marinating in this delicious chicken satay marinade that is super easy to make. First thing we're gonna add to our mixing bowl is 1/2 cup of coconut milk. This is the kind that's in the can, not in the dairy section in a carton. So make sure you get the right kind. Usually the cans are about 14 or 15 ounces, which is about 1.5 cups. You need the entire can for this recipe. Half goes into the marinade, the rest of it goes into our coconut rice. So don't throw it away if you pour out half for the marinade, okay? All right, the next thing we're gonna do is add in 1 tablespoon of chili garlic sauce. Now, this comes in the grocery store in a little container and it says chili garlic sauce, okay? It's not chili sauce that looks like ketchup. This is different, okay? And it's just garlic and chili. So I'm gonna mix that up and then we're gonna add in 1 tablespoon of garlic that is minced. This was about 3 to 4 cloves. It depends on the size of the cloves, but about a tablespoon. We're also gonna put in a tablespoon of ginger. Now you can mince your ginger or you can get the ginger paste in the tube, which is what I did for this recipe. And usually I add a tablespoon of lemongrass paste, and Gourmet Garden used to make the lemongrass paste that I could get at the grocery store. I can no longer find it. So instead of lemongrass paste, I'm going to use a combination of lemon juice and a little bit of lemon zest. Now this does not exactly equate to an equivalent of lemongrass paste. It doesn't taste the same, but it does give that little bit of brightness that I think the marinade really needs. So don't skip the lemon zest especially, okay? The lemon juice is always in the recipe, but the lemon zest is what I'm adding to compensate for not having the lemongrass paste. All right, then we need 1 teaspoon of fine grind sea salt or kosher salt. We're gonna put that in. And I don't salt the chicken, okay? Now, you can if you want, but I don't do it because I don't want it to become overly salted. This is enough salt. This is salting the entire dish, except for a pinch that we put into the rice. So don't be concerned with the amount of salt here. And now we're gonna add in the lemon juice, and the final ingredient is 2 teaspoons of turmeric. Now, one thing about turmeric, you can see I have a metal little whisk here. Don't use a wooden spoon, don't use a plastic spatula, use something metal, otherwise it will stain. The other thing I'm gonna tell you is when you put this bowl into the sink, don't let anything rubber or plastic or even wood sit in the sink with it because it will become stained yellow. This stains so easily, so be careful when you're using the turmeric. Don't get it on your cutting board, don't get it on your clothes, or you're gonna have turmeric colored clothes. So you could use it as a dye, that would work fine. All right, that is it for the marinade. Now we're gonna add the chicken in. Chicken breast is what I prefer to use in this recipe. You could use chicken thighs, it would be perfectly fine, no changes in your timing or anything like that. I have this already trimmed and cut into cubes. The cubes are bigger than you may think you want. The reason being is we're doing this as an all-in-one meal, and they need to be about 1.5 to 2 inch cubes so that they don't overcook during the entire process of cooking the rice on the bottom and the chicken on top. So this is the size that they are, and this is the size that you need, okay? Now they do shrink a little bit, and you can break them up before you put them on your plate or in your bowl. I'm gonna make this into like a chicken satay bowl, so I'll leave them like this though, it's fine. I'll just bite them in half when I eat them, but you can cut them smaller after you cook them, but not before, or your chicken may overcook. So just plop the chicken right in the marinade, and then I'll give it a quick stir, and we will get this covered. And then you want to marinate the chicken for at least 1 hour, but you could certainly do it up to 24, even a little bit longer than 24 hours is fine, but I would not go like longer than 2 days, okay? Because it will start to break down the fibers in the chicken and you'll have a different texture. It can get a little bit mushy, so you don't want that, okay? So at least an hour, up to 8, 24, 48 tops. And try to push all the chicken underneath so it's all gonna get equally marinated. All right, that looks great. And now we're gonna cover with plastic wrap and I'm gonna pop it in the refrigerator. So our chicken has been in the refrigerator for an hour marinating. And one thing I wanted to mention is it's important that it is in the refrigerator, even though it would be safe as far as food safety goes to leave it out to marinate for just an hour. You want it to be cold because all of this plays into the cooking time, and we don't want it to be room temperature or it may overcook when we do the combi meal. All right, so the next thing you want to do is line your tray. This is the top tray that goes into the combi. Line it with some parchment paper. This is important for a couple reasons, and you will thank me. The main reason is because it makes cleanup super easy, and if you don't line it, your chicken is going to probably stick, and it is a nightmare to clean. Ask me how I know, because I didn't line it the first time. The other thing that happens is a little bit of the liquid, because we're going to use steam and air crisping to cook this. And the steam that's produced will kind of pool on the tray. And I noticed that it sort of prevented the browning from happening on the chicken the first time I tested the recipe. But that was fixed by putting down the parchment first, which sort of absorbed some of that. And it just allowed the chicken to brown so much better. And it's easier to clean up. So a win-win, right? All right, now you're gonna place your chicken onto the tray, and remember, don't use wood or anything like that. Use something metal or easily cleaned. Plastic tipped tongs are fine too. And you're gonna just place them. You don't wanna crowd them, but we need to get all 1.5 pounds of chicken onto this tray. So just space them out a little bit and do it in a single layer. You don't have to blot the marinade off. In fact, don't blot the marinade off for this recipe. Sometimes when you marinate meat and you want to get a real nice sear on it, we'll kind of blot it off a little bit so it doesn't steam. That's not necessary here, and you really want this marinade to bake onto the chicken. That's what gives it so much flavor. All right, that looks great. Now the rest of the marinade just gets discarded, okay? You cannot save it. It's had raw chicken in there. And now the tray of chicken is done, and I'm just gonna set it right here while we get our rice put together, which is super easy. You want the combi pan. We're gonna put in 1.5 cups of jasmine rice. Rinse your rice really well under cold water until the water runs clear. The rest of the coconut milk, which is 1 cup from the can that we had. Now, if you had a little less or a little more, don't sweat it, okay? Use the rest of the can of coconut milk in this recipe, and then just use enough water so that you have a total amount of coconut milk and water that equals 3 cups. For 1.5 cups of rice, using a steam function, we use double the amount of liquid. Pour that in. And then what I like to do is just add a tiny bit of salt. I don't even really measure this. It's about 1/4 teaspoon, okay? Just a tiny bit of salt. And then our rice is set up here. So just give it a little stir. And we're gonna get everything into the combi and cooking. All right, the chicken goes on the top level. So it just slides right in there. And then the pan of rice goes onto the bottom. Just slide it right in there. You want your lever to be up. We're gonna use combi meals for this recipe. So combi meals, you wanna take your temperature all the way up to 450 degrees. Now what's gonna happen when I hit start, I'm gonna take the time to 20 minutes. What's gonna happen is we're gonna build steam in there from the liquid that's in with the rice. That's the first part of combi meals. That is gonna last somewhere around 7 to 10 minutes. Then after that time is up, which you're not gonna see it's just gonna look like it's preheating. Then the top fan and top heating element's gonna turn on at 450 degrees and start to really cook that chicken. So this combination allows us to cook the rice on the bottom, the chicken on top, and both come out amazing. Your rice is not going to overcook or become crunchy or anything because it's not getting direct heat or direct fan motion. It is covered by the tray. So this works beautifully. And it is so super easy to do. So set the time for 20 minutes, hit start, and don't do anything. Don't be tempted to open up the door. We need the steam to cook the rice appropriately. We don't want to let the heat out at all. So just leave it alone, let it do its thing, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. It is completely normal to see steam come out the entire time. The preheat is when it's heating up the liquids, creating the steam, but you don't really see a ton of steam until the fan comes on because then it's circulating and kind of pulling it out. All right, the 20 minutes is up. Let's go ahead and plate up our chicken satay and coconut rice. This is just so amazing. Look at the browning on that chicken. Wait till you see this. First, I gotta bring out the rice though, because we're gonna put the rice on the bottom. And I have a little thing here to protect my countertop. So let me pull this rice out. And when you first look at it, you are gonna say, what is that? Don't worry, that's just coconut milk. It is perfectly fine. Give it a nice little stir to kind of fluff it up a little bit. Now, if you weren't serving it right away, you could certainly put a little cover on it and let it sit. But it's perfect. It is absolutely perfect for this dish. Now, one thing I didn't make here for this recipe, but I use it in the recipe, is my peanut sauce, okay? Super important for a garnish on top. The peanut sauce is extremely easy to make. You can use the hot and cold blender, or you can make it on the stove just by combining a few ingredients. And let me just tell you, it is the most delicious peanut sauce ever. All right, so I'm gonna make this into a chicken satay bowl. Now, I would maybe steam some broccoli to add some veggies here ordinarily, but I'm not doing that for this video, so we're going straight in with the rice, and the rice is gonna go in the bottom of the bowl. Now, of course, you could plate this up any which way you want. You could put it on a plate, but I kind of like the idea of a bowl. Then, let me move this over to the side, and let me get the tray out so you can see this gorgeous chicken. Look at that. Okay, normally chicken satay is grilled, and it's grilled on a skewer, right? Well, we take the skewer out of the equation, cut it into chunks, but we still get this beautiful browning. Oh my gosh, so amazing. Now, what I do like to do is add a little bit of green onion, or chives would be fine, either one. And then a couple of pieces of chicken on here. Oh my gosh, this looks so, so good. And then we're gonna add in some peanut sauce. Probably peanuts would go first. Let me do that first. Crushed peanuts. Peanut sauce. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. And then a little bit of fresh cilantro just to finish it off. And that is it, guys. That is our chicken satay bowl with coconut rice, all made in the Ninja Combi, 20-minute meal, and it is delicious. And one other thing is you can use either chicken broth or water in the rice in addition to the coconut milk, okay? Either one is fine. The reason why I used water this time and I've used chicken stock other times is because if I have leftover chicken stock and I need to use it up, I put it in the rice. If I don't have any chicken stock, I don't open up a container just to add it. I use water. So either way is perfectly fine. All right, here we go. Now I am gonna cut this chicken a little bit, but it looks amazing. Oh my gosh. I keep saying that. It's like one of my favorite, one of my favorite flavor profiles for sure. So I just love making this because it's just so simple. All right, here we go. Oh, God. Everything is cooked perfectly, and that is what's so amazing about this. Such little effort, perfectly cooked, delicious meal. Enjoy.